Hey guys, tonight we're heading west, to a land glittering with promise, peril, and way too much dust for anyone's lungs. You're stepping into 1848 California, where the air hums with rumor and gold fever burns hotter than the sun over the Sierra Nevada. This isn't just a story about treasure, it's about obsession, the kind that turns calm men wild and tired travelers into dreamers. You probably won't survive this one without getting a little gold crazy yourself. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop your location and local time in the comments. It's always cool to see where you're listening from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stand at the edge of the American River near Coloma. The water glimmers faintly in the morning light, and your boots sink into damp earth. A carpenter named James W. Marshall squints down at a small flake in his palm, yellow, heavy, unyielding. He bites it, scratches it, and whispers the word that'll change the world: gold. Within weeks, the whisper becomes thunder. The discovery travels from campfire gossip to newspaper headlines faster than anyone can pack a wagon. People abandon homes, farms, and entire families. You hear it in taverns in New York, in markets in Mexico, even aboard ships in far-off China, California. Gold in California. By early 1849, the trickle becomes a flood. Historians estimate over 80,000 people swarm toward the west that year alone, the 49ers. Some cross treacherous trails over the Rockies, others sail the deadly route around Cape Horn or cut across the fever-ridden jungles of Panama. Everyone's chasing the same fantasy: instant riches and rebirth. The funny thing? Most of them have no clue what they're doing. You see a man from Boston who's never touched a shovel, trying to pan a dry creek. Another fellow insists he'll find gold just by listening to the earth. Spoiler, he won't. Yet hope is a powerful drug, one more addictive than anything you can dig up. California itself feels alive, buzzing, waiting, almost mocking. The hills are quiet but not peaceful, the rivers glitter but hide secrets beneath their currents. You feel the tremor of something immense taking shape, a new America, forged not by kings or politics, but by greed and grit. Everywhere you look, new trails cut across the landscape. Wagons creak through endless plains. Campfires flicker along rivers. Strangers share dreams over whiskey, swearing they'll strike it rich by Christmas. Even the weather seems to conspire: long dry days, star-studded nights, the kind of silence that makes you think you can hear fate breathing beside you. You meet a miner who claims he's found a mountain of gold north of Sutter's mill. A week later, he's gone, vanished into legend or madness. Historians still argue whether early maps to phantom goldfields were deliberate hoaxes or just desperate imagination. Either way, they spread faster than any truth could. Back east, politicians barely understand what's happening. California isn't even a state yet, but within months, it'll be overrun. Its rivers churned to mud, its hills stripped bare, its towns swelling from hundreds to thousands overnight. The world, it seems, is tilting westward. By nightfall, you rest beside a campfire, listening to the crackle of wood and the faint rush of the river. A prospector beside you mutters in his sleep, his hand curled tight around a pebble of fool's gold, shiny, worthless, but comforting. You can't help but smile. In this world, illusion is almost as precious as the real thing. And as the stars wheel overhead, you realize something quietly terrifying. It's not just gold people are chasing. It's the idea that life can change in a single shining moment. The next morning, the world feels louder. You wake to the sound of hammers, shouting, and horses snorting steam into the crisp dawn air. The California hills are no longer empty, they're alive with people. Everywhere you turn, someone's arriving, building, or breaking something. The gold rush isn't a story anymore, it's an invasion. You spot a line of wagons crawling across the horizon. Farmers from Missouri, shoemakers from New York, even a few hopeful poets who probably should have stayed home. They all call themselves Argonauts, after the mythical Greek heroes who sailed for Golden Fleece. It's poetic, sure, but here, the fleece bites back. Down by the docks of San Francisco, if you can still call it that, ships are crammed shoulder to shoulder. Many are abandoned the moment they arrive, crews bolting for the hills, leaving empty hulls bobbing like ghosts in the bay. The town itself has exploded overnight, tents stitched together from canvas, sails, and dreams. Streets are mud, buildings half-built, and the smell of salt, sweat, and hope mingles with the stench of fish and spilled whiskey. You squeeze through the chaos, and every face tells a different version of the same story: hunger for fortune, and the quiet terror of realizing how slim the odds are. Historians still argue whether only 1 in 20 miners actually struck it rich, but looking around, you'd bet it's even less. Most men here won't find gold, but they'll find something else: exhaustion, disease, heartbreak, or maybe a strange kind of belonging among fellow fools. On a nearby hill, you see a man selling shovels, pans, and boots. He's not mining at all, just selling hope, one tool at a time. You remember his name later: Samuel Brannan, California's first millionaire, who never dug an ounce of gold himself. It's almost poetic justice. The dreamers dig holes, the clever ones sell them the shovels. By midday, you're caught in a river of humanity, shouting in English, Spanish, Chinese, French, Hawaiian, and languages you can't place. Immigrants from every corner of the earth have arrived, all chasing the same glimmer. Even the air hums with nervous energy. You overhear someone say they can smell gold in the wind. You try it, it just smells like dust. On the trail toward the interior, oxen stumble through mud as men argue over directions. The overland routes have names now: Oregon Trail, California Trail, even the perilous Gila route through desert and heat. Death litters the journey: broken wagons, shallow graves, discarded pianos, forgotten letters. But still, they keep coming. You pass a man scribbling a note to his wife, promising to return rich. His handwriting trembles. You wonder if he ever did. Most never sent another word. By nightfall, the camps glow under the stars. Fires flicker like constellations on Earth. Strangers share food, stories, and rumors of new strikes just over the next ridge. Someone strums a fiddle. Someone else swears they saw nuggets the size of walnuts. You know it's probably a lie, but no one dares say it aloud. Hope is sacred currency here. A prospector beside you tells you about pocket gold, hidden deep in veins only the lucky can find. He taps his nose, grinning like a prophet. He'll vanish before sunrise, chasing another rumor. You'll never know if he found anything. In quieter moments, you feel the world tilt again. The rush isn't just movement, it's transformation. America's population is spilling west, rewriting its own story in real time. The frontier isn't empty anymore. It's bursting, sweating, shouting, and changing shape. One fringe story floats through camp that night, about a man who tried to patent sunshine mining, claiming he could pull gold straight from sunlight reflected off the rivers. Historians call it nonsense. But you can't help thinking, maybe, for a moment, everyone here believed it could be true. You lie back on the cold ground, your bed a rough blanket and a sack of tools. The sky above feels impossibly wide. Somewhere, a coyote howls. You close your eyes, and for a fleeting second, you understand the madness, that fragile, golden thread tying every soul here together. Morning comes with the clatter of tin cups and the hiss of boiling coffee, black, bitter, and shared among strangers who might rob each other by nightfall. You've finally reached the mining camps, the pulsing heart of the gold rush, and they're nothing like the paintings back east. There are no tidy streets or white fences, just mud, canvas, and ambition piled on top of exhaustion. You walk through a valley lined with tents patched from sails, shirts, even curtains dragged all the way from Boston parlors. Smoke hangs low, thick with bacon grease and wood ash. Men stumble half awake, faces smeared with dust and soot, clutching pans, picks, and hope in equal measure. You can't tell if they're chasing gold or running from their old lives, maybe both. The riverbanks are alive with movement. Dozens of figures bend low, swirling muddy water in pans, eyes sharp as hawks. Each spin of gravel is a lottery ticket. The air hums with the clink of metal and the splash of boots. Someone shouts, "Eureka!" And for a heartbeat, the camp freezes. You rush over, heart thudding, only to find a few tiny flakes glinting at the bottom of a tin plate. Not a fortune, but enough to make everyone dream harder. You notice how quickly joy turns to paranoia here. Every man keeps one eye on his pan and one on his neighbor. Theft is a religion, betrayal an art form. Yet, oddly, so is generosity. A lucky strike might mean a night of free whiskey for everyone, because tomorrow, fortune might turn. Historians still argue whether the gold rush was more about community or chaos. Looking around, you'd say it's both, a strange brotherhood built on greed and loneliness. You see men share tobacco, trade food, even sing together under the stars. Then, by dawn, they're gone, moved on to the next claim, the next rumor. You walk past a tent where someone's nailed up a makeshift sign, hot bath, $2. You pause. That's more than most men earn in a day. But you step inside anyway. The water's lukewarm, the tub dented, and the attendant's got a grin that says he's the richest man in camp. You realize not everyone came here to dig. Some came to serve and profit quietly from the chaos. Nearby, a gambler's tent glows like a lantern in the dusk. Inside, laughter and curses tangle together. You see gold dust traded like candy, fortunes made and lost with a flip of a card. The dealer's eyes glitter, calm, steady, and far too sober. He's winning because he never swings a pickaxe. You wander deeper into camp. Someone's cooking beans over a fire, someone else mending boots, and a preacher's shouting about salvation between two saloons. The air smells of sweat, smoke, and desperation, strangely comforting after a while. You hear a story passed from miner to miner about a man who struck gold but went mad protecting it, building a moat around his tent and sleeping with a pistol under his chin. Some say he shot at ghosts. Some say he shot at himself. Historians can't agree if he was real or just another campfire myth. But you can feel his spirit in the air, that quiet dread of success, that fear that even winning might ruin you. As night falls, a wind howls through the valley, carrying the sounds of laughter, coughing, and the rhythmic clang of hammers. You find a spot near the river and dip your fingers into the cold water. It bites like ice, numbing and alive. For a second, you see a flicker of gold dust drift past, or maybe it's just light playing tricks. Either way, you feel the fever creeping in. You lie down, eyes heavy, and listen to the camp settle. Men snoring, horses shifting, the fire crackling low. Somewhere, someone whispers a prayer. Not for safety, not even for home, just for luck. Because here, luck is the closest thing to God. The sun climbs over the mountains like molten brass, spilling heat into the valleys. By now, you've learned that gold isn't really found. It's earned, one aching scoop at a time. You join the others at the riverbank, crouched over your pan, swirling muddy water in tight circles until your wrists burn. The trick, they say, is patience. The truth is, it's mostly luck. You watch the techniques evolve right before your eyes. In the beginning, everyone uses simple pans, metal dishes no bigger than a dinner plate. The sound of swirling gravel becomes the soundtrack of the rush, rhythmic and desperate. Then someone invents the cradle, a wooden contraption that rocks back and forth like a baby's bed. Two men crank it while another shovels dirt on top. Water runs through, washing away sand and leaving the heavier flakes behind. It's crude, it's exhausting, and it works, sometimes. As the days stretch on, ingenuity takes root. Miners build sluice boxes, long wooden troughs lined with riffles to trap the heavier gold. It feels industrial, almost elegant in its logic. You realize this isn't just chaos, it's evolution born from hunger. Every failed design becomes tomorrow's breakthrough. Historians still argue whether this explosion of innovation was pure necessity or the first step toward industrial mining. But here, knee-deep in the icy river, it just feels like survival. You meet a wiry man from Chile who shows you a technique called batilla, a wooden bowl used back home long before this New World frenzy began. He moves gracefully, his wrists sure and smooth, the water dancing in perfect rhythm. He laughs softly at your clumsy imitation. Gold, he says, likes the patient hand. You'll remember that long after you've forgotten his face. Everywhere you look, new tools appear, metal detectors great-grandfathers in the form of long toms, crank-powered rockers, even strange contraptions that use wind power to sift dirt. One man boasts he's invented a machine that can smell gold. He's drunk, of course, but everyone listens anyway. Because out here, belief is half the business. By midday, the sun burns down hard. Sweat drips into your eyes, and your back aches like it's made of iron. You stare at your pan, just gravel again. Around you, men curse, pray, or laugh like madmen. And then, from the far end of the bank, someone lets out a strangled cry. You turn just in time to see a miner holding something in both hands, an honest-to-God nugget bigger than his thumb. The camp swarms instantly. Everyone wants to see, to touch, to believe. For one shimmering second, the fever reignites. You can almost feel it spread through your veins like fire. That night, the man vanishes. His tent's empty, his tools abandoned. Some whisper he went to San Francisco to cash in. Others swear he drowned crossing the river, his nugget pulling him under. Either way, his story becomes another ghost among thousands. As the stars appear, you stare at your own reflection in the water. You've learned to read the color of dirt, to feel the weight of gravel in your palms, to tell real gold from fool's gold by instinct alone. You're not rich, but you're not who you were when you arrived either. A quirky rumor drifts through camp that week, that some miners mix mercury with their gold to weigh it down, cheating buyers. It works, but the mercury eats their hands and poisons their lungs. You can't decide which is worse, dying poor or dying rich and cursed. You tilt your head back, breathing in the cool night. The water whispers against your boots, a lullaby of earth and metal. For all the chaos, the violence, the fever, there's something almost peaceful about this. The steady rhythm of human hands reshaping the land, searching for something that might never come. And as you drift toward sleep, the thought hums quietly in your mind. Gold doesn't change the world. It just exposes what was already there. By now, the dream feels different. The camps are bigger, louder, and meaner. What started as hope has turned into something heavier: greed, desperation, maybe even madness. You walk through the valley at dawn and realize there's gold in every conversation, but none in the pans. The air hums with frustration, the kind that tastes like rust. You pass a prospector who's been digging in the same patch for 3 months. His hands are cracked, nails blackened with dirt. "Just one more day," he mutters, eyes fixed on a hole barely 2 feet deep. You can tell he's said that for weeks. There's a strange faith in this place, not in God or destiny, but in maybe. The rush that once glittered like sunrise now feels like an endless dusk. Boom and bust live side by side. You watch one man find a pouch of nuggets worth a lifetime's fortune, and another hang himself behind a tent because he lost everything, even his mule. No one talks about him the next morning. There's no time for grief when every hour might change your fate. Historians still argue whether the gold rush was the greatest opportunity in American history or its cruelest illusion. Standing here, you'd say it's both, a carnival of luck and heartbreak. The nearby town of Hangtown, later renamed Placerville, earns its grim title fast. You see a crowd gather beneath a tree, 3 men accused of stealing gold dust. The trial takes minutes. The hangings take less. Justice, like gold, is rough and fast here. And you can't shake the chill when the crowd cheers. You stumble away, stomach tight, mind buzzing. The same people who pray by candlelight at night will watch a hanging by day and call it balance. Maybe that's what gold does. It shifts the line between right and wrong until you can't tell which side you're on. In the next valley, a boom town explodes overnight. Dozens of tents turn to shops. Blacksmiths, saloons, gambling dens, barbers, even a dentist with pliers that look more like torture tools. The bar owners are the richest men around. They dig nothing, but the gold flows to them anyway, glittering in mugs and pockets. You sit in one of those saloons, watching men slam their fists on tables, shouting over bad piano music. The floor's sticky with whiskey and mud. Someone yells about a new strike near Feather River. Half the room empties in minutes, like soldiers answering a bugle call. You almost laugh. The rush still works its spell, even after everything. A prospector beside you tells a story about a man who found a nugget shaped exactly like a human heart. He sold it for $500, then died of fever a week later. The heart, they say, ended up in a collector's cabinet in Boston. Some swear it brings bad luck. Others say it was fool's gold all along. Outside, the night feels colder. The hills are stripped bare now, forests flattened for timber, rivers choked with mud. The land looks tired, as if it's being eaten alive by human hunger. You kneel by the water and see only silt where gold once gleamed. The boom is already fading, but no one's ready to admit it yet. A few clever merchants start packing up, heading towards San Francisco or Oregon, following the next opportunity. But most stay, clutching shovels and superstition. You realize the fever doesn't end when the gold runs out. It just shifts, looking for something else to consume. A strange rumor circulates that there's gold hidden deep beneath the mountains, guarded by spirits who curse those who take too much. You laugh it off, but in the darkness, when the wind howls through the empty shafts, even skeptics glance over their shoulders. As the fire crackles low, you stare into the embers. They look like molten coins, fading and flaring, always out of reach. You think about the miners who struck it rich, a few thousand at most. The rest will vanish into history, their names swallowed by dust. And yet, even now, you can't help feeling the tug, that small, impossible whisper that maybe tomorrow's pan will shine. By now, the camps are starting to look less like outposts and more like small, lawless towns. Amid the noise and grime, a few rare voices rise above the clatter, women's voices. You didn't expect to hear them here, not in a world built on sweat and whiskey. But they're here, and they change everything. You see her first near a cookfire, sleeves rolled, hair tied back, serving stew to a line of hungry men who'd gladly trade gold dust for a warm smile. Her name's Clara, though everyone just calls her Miss Red, for the kerchief she wears. She's not a miner, not a gambler, not a preacher. But in her own way, she's richer than all three. She runs a boarding tent, a meal stand, and, rumor says, a poker table that only she ever wins. Historians still argue how many women came west during the gold rush. Some say 1 in 20, others less, but their impact was enormous. Many didn't come chasing gold directly, they came chasing opportunity in the chaos. Some cooked, some washed clothes, some owned saloons, and a few, like Mary Ellen Pleasant, built empires from the dust. You wander through town and notice something. Wherever women settle, stability follows. The streets grow a little cleaner, the fights a little fewer. A miner even plants flowers outside his tent. Though they wilt in a week, the gesture feels like rebellion against the filth. There's a woman named Ah Toy, one of San Francisco's first Chinese entrepreneurs, who runs her business with such authority that even the toughest men lower their voices when she walks by. Then there's Luz Pena, who rides into camp with her brothers, runs a blacksmith shop, and can shoe a horse faster than any man. She laughs when someone doubts her strength, then bends an iron nail between her fingers. You decide not to test her. Of course, not all stories glitter. You overhear whispers of women tricked or trafficked, sold into brothels or forced into labor. The gold rush gave some power but took much more from others. The frontier was a chance to start anew, but for women, it was also a gamble, one that too often came with danger instead of reward. At night, you sit by the fire as a soft voice rises over the clinking of bottles, a song old and tired, sung in Spanish. It's not about gold or glory, but about home. You feel it sink deep into the silence afterward, heavier than any nugget. One quirky detail you catch. In some towns, laundresses made more money than miners. Turns out, clean shirts were rarer than gold itself. You watch a woman scrub clothes by the river, her arms strong and steady, her laughter echoing over the current. She doesn't strike gold, but she builds something better, a steady life, one coin at a time. You meet another woman, older, named Mrs. Whitmore, who keeps a small library in her tent, a handful of books, Dickens, Byron, the Bible. For a few cents, miners can sit inside, away from the noise, and read. You spend an hour there, the soft murmur of pages like music. It's absurd, almost holy. Even here, amid greed and grit, someone decided that words still matter. Historians still debate whether women civilized the frontier or simply survived it better. Watching them here, you know it's both. They didn't wait for the West to tame itself. They tamed it by showing up, rolling up their sleeves, and charging fair prices. As the night deepens, laughter drifts through camp, high, clear, and fearless. You close your eyes, realizing that in this feverish world of men chasing wealth, it's the women who bring rhythm, order, and strange, quiet courage. The fire flickers low, shadows softening around the tents. Somewhere, Miss Red hums another tune, her voice blending with the wind. You fall asleep thinking that maybe, in a land obsessed with gold, the real treasure was never metal at all. By the time you wake again, the gold rush doesn't feel like just an adventure anymore. It feels like a collision. Too many people, too many dreams, all jammed into a landscape that never asked for company. And beneath all the glitter and grit, something darker stirs, the clash of cultures, the cost of the rush that few will ever admit. You walk through a valley that once belonged to the Nisenan people. The river bends gently, its banks lined with oak and willow, but the land feels wounded. You notice the scars, deep trenches where rivers have been diverted, forests hacked down for lumber, fish gone from the streams. The gold rush didn't just uncover metal, it unmade ecosystems, erased maps, and rewrote who belonged here. A native elder sits near the water, carving something small and careful, a feather, maybe, or a memory. He doesn't look up as you pass. The silence says enough. Within just a few years, tens of thousands of native Californians will die from violence, disease, or displacement. Historians still argue whether to call it genocide, but you don't need the word to feel the truth of it pressing in from all sides. At the next camp, you see new faces: Mexican, Chilean, Chinese, Hawaiian, even Australian. The gold rush was global long before anyone called it that. Each brought their own skills, tools, and hopes. Some are welcomed, most are not. Miners who once sang songs of freedom now post signs that read, "No foreigners." You see a group of Chinese miners forced off their claim at gunpoint, their tools smashed into the mud. No one stops it. You feel a strange guilt in your stomach, not for digging gold yourself, but for witnessing it, for being part of a story that eats the weak to feed the lucky. The Chinese miners, quieter and far more organized, set up separate camps along the creeks. Their methods are clean, efficient, almost graceful: bamboo baskets, careful panning, teamwork. You pass through one such camp at dusk, lanterns glowing like stars on the ground, and they nod politely but keep working. You sense pride there, but also an unspoken exhaustion, a kind of resilience that history rarely celebrates. Then there's the tension between the old and new Californios, descendants of Spanish settlers who once ruled this land under Mexican banners, and the arriving Americans. Ranches seized, land stolen, promises rewritten in foreign ink. Every deal feels like a theft dressed up as destiny. One night, a fight breaks out between two groups over a patch of riverbank. Rocks fly, guns flash, and by sunrise, 3 men are dead. No one knows who fired first. No one ever does. By noon, the spot is filled again with miners, as if nothing happened. The river doesn't stop for grief. You learn of the foreign miners' tax, $20 a month, charged to anyone not born in the United States. For many, it's more than they earn in a week. It's a cruel irony, the land of opportunity taxing the dream itself. Some leave. Others stay, paying in dust and dignity. And still, despite everything, you find moments of strange beauty. You see a Chinese miner teaching a young Irish boy how to pan properly, both laughing when the pan slips into the current. You share a fire one night with a Mexican vaquero who plays a tune on his guitar so haunting it makes the stars feel closer. For a brief moment, everyone is just human again. A quirky story circulates about a multilingual camp where miners invented a new pidgin language, part Spanish, part English, part Chinese, just to barter and joke together. Historians say it might have been the first truly Californian dialect. You like that idea, that even in chaos, connection finds a way. But when dawn comes, the divisions harden again. Flags rise, tempers flare, and greed blinds everything softer. The gold rush isn't just changing California, it's consuming it, one culture, one river, one heartbeat at a time. As you pack your few belongings and move on, the land feels quieter, but not peaceful. It's a silence of exhaustion, like the earth itself has seen too much and can't speak of it anymore. When you finally reach San Francisco, it's almost unrecognizable, a living fever dream built out of ambition and sawdust. Just a few years ago, it was a sleepy port of a few hundred people. Now, it's a roaring city of tens of thousands, growing faster than anyone can count. You step off a wagon and into what feels like organized chaos. Hammering, shouting, singing, swearing, all in a dozen different languages at once. The streets aren't really streets yet, more like veins of mud and noise, pulsing with life. Men stagger under the weight of crates filled with supplies. Shovels, whiskey, boots, letters from home. Wooden planks bridge puddles deeper than your knees. Ships sit abandoned in the harbor, their masts jutting like tombstones, because their crews have run off to mine gold. Some clever folks have even turned those ships into hotels, saloons, and shops, floating buildings that never sail again. You pass by Portsmouth Square, where preachers, thieves, and dreamers all shout over one another. A man sells maps to imaginary goldfields for $1 apiece. Another sells bottles labeled Guaranteed River Gold, which turn out to be nothing but sand. Everyone's hustling someone. San Francisco, you realize, isn't just a city. It's the world's largest open-air experiment in human chaos. And somehow it works. Historians still argue whether San Francisco was the most corrupt or the most innovative city in America's early years. But as you walk its streets, it feels like both at once, a place where greed and genius shake hands daily. You duck into a saloon called the El Dorado. The air is thick with cigar smoke, and the floorboards creak under the weight of gold dust. Yes, actual gold dust, sprinkled as payment and sometimes even swept into corners by lazy bartenders. You meet a man who claims he's made more money selling boots to miners than he ever could digging himself. You believe him, his boots shine like new coin. Everywhere you look, fortunes change by the hour. A prospector stumbles in, pockets bursting with gold, and leaves broke before midnight. A gambler wins a mine deed, loses it in the next hand, then wins it back with a grin. It's madness, beautiful, contagious madness. You hear of a man named Joshua Norton, once a failed businessman, who later crowns himself Emperor of the United States. The wild part? People go along with it. Newspapers print his proclamations. Saloon owners reserve him a seat. Historians still debate whether Norton was insane or just a visionary who understood San Francisco better than anyone. A city where the line between absurdity and brilliance vanished in the fog. As the sun sets, the whole skyline glows orange, not from the sun, but from thousands of oil lamps and cooking fires. You walk down the boardwalk, past musicians, hawkers, and the occasional preacher shouting into the night. The wind smells of salt, smoke, and dreams both broken and alive. Down near the docks, a woman named Shanghai Mary runs a boarding house. And, according to rumor, a secret network for sailors who disappear without warning. Shanghaied, they call it, kidnapped, sold into labor aboard ships. You can't tell if it's real or just another tall tale, but in this city, truth and fiction are roommates. You buy a cup of coffee that costs more than gold by weight. The man serving it smiles like a prophet. People pay anything for what they can't dig up, he says. You sip it anyway. He's right. It tastes like civilization. By midnight, fog drifts in from the bay, wrapping the city in a soft gray shroud. Lanterns blur into halos of light. The noise fades into a low, constant hum, the heartbeat of ambition. You wander past the wharves where ships' names gleam faintly on their hulls. Perseverance, Fortune, Despair. You smile, fitting names for this mad experiment of a city. For all its chaos, you can't help admiring it. San Francisco is what the gold rush looks like when it stands up straight and puts on a jacket, still wild, but with a glimmer of purpose. The gold may have started it, but what's building here now feels bigger, something permanent, something almost mythic. You turn back toward the hills, where the sound of hammers never stops. The night feels electric, alive, restless, as if even the fog can't keep up with the city it's trying to swallow. As the years roll on, you notice a subtle shift. The solitary dreamers, swinging picks in frozen creeks, are no longer the masters of the land. Larger forces are moving in. Companies, investors, and engineers who see gold not as treasure but as resource, and miners as laborers. You watch the rise of corporate mining with a mixture of awe and dread. Steam-powered dredges appear in the rivers. Wooden sluices become massive, iron-framed operations that wash entire hillsides in minutes. Men who once prided themselves on finding a nugget with their own hands now supervise crews or count profits in distant offices. Fortune no longer favors the individual, it favors organization, capital, and efficiency. You meet a miner named Eli, who laments, "They've taken our playground and made it a factory." His hands are still strong, but his back aches not from digging, but from managing men. Historians still argue whether this shift was inevitable, a natural progression, or simply the death of the romantic miner's dream. You see both in Eli's tired eyes. Alongside the machines, towns begin to stabilize. Wooden tents are replaced with timber-framed buildings, muddy streets with plank walkways. San Francisco grows taller, broader, almost impervious. The city that once accommodated wild adventurers now houses accountants, bankers, and merchants, the architects of a new industrial America. You walk through a mining camp recently bought by a corporation. Miners work from dawn to dusk, paid in scrip or company tokens, living in bunkhouses lined up like military barracks. It's efficient, clean, and utterly soulless. You can't help but compare it to the chaos you walked through just a few years ago. The laughter, the mud, the songs, the whispered rumors of impossible nuggets. That world is vanishing fast. You overhear a scholarly debate in a tavern. Some claim the corporate takeover saved the environment from total destruction. Others insist it merely traded one form of exploitation for another. Both sides make compelling points, but the miners drinking in the corner care only about getting paid, and perhaps a little about preserving a patch of river that still holds a glimmer of hope. By evening, you follow a trail to a dismantled gold claim. Rusted sluices, half-buried cradles, and abandoned picks tell a quiet story. You imagine the hands that worked here, the sweat, the fevered nights staring at water in the hope of seeing it glitter. The machines have taken over, but the ghosts remain, laughter and curses echoing through the empty canyons. A quirky story drifts through camp that night. Some miners insisted on wearing crocodile dung sunscreen, claiming it would repel spirits guarding the gold. Scientists would call it nonsense. Miners called it tradition. You can't help but chuckle as you picture it, imagining entire crews smeared in dried muck while the corporate managers shake their heads in disbelief. You see, the gold rush isn't just about gold. It's about transformation of land, of society, and of dreams. Individuals fade into the background as corporations rise, yet the fever continues in the rhythm of labor, in whispered stories of lost nuggets, in every river turned to mud by machines. As night falls, the wind carries the scent of firewood, damp earth, and faint metal. You rest your hand on an abandoned sluice box, feeling the weight of countless hands that shaped this land, now replaced by steel and steam. And in the silence, you realize that even as the fever changes form, it will never fully leave California. Eventually, the frenzy begins to ebb. You wander through valleys once packed with hopeful prospectors, and the silence is striking. Abandoned shacks lean against hillsides, rivers run thick with mud where gold was once washed, and faint paths, once trampled by thousands, fade into the underbrush. The rush is over, but the echoes linger. Ghost towns whisper stories of both triumph and tragedy. You pass a half-collapsed cabin with a rusty pick lying beside it. You imagine a family or a solitary miner inside, scratching at the earth for weeks, months, maybe years, only to leave empty-handed. Historians still argue whether the true success stories are the few who struck it rich, or the many who survived the fever and returned home with nothing but tales. You're not sure either answer satisfies. In some places, nature is slowly reclaiming what humans ripped apart. Trees creep back over stripped hills, and the rivers, though muddied, begin to clear. You can almost hear the land sigh, remembering its former silence. But every so often, the shimmer of gold dust still catches the sunlight, a reminder that this fever, though diminished, never truly disappears. You walk through another camp that's been repurposed. Children play where miners once cursed. A single saloon remains, its doors swinging in the wind, abandoned for the most part. The laughter here is softer, quieter. You think about the stories carried by those who left, the men who found fortune, the women who built businesses, the immigrants who carved new lives in a land that barely tolerated them. You stop at a rusted sluice box and remember the wild stories. The man who buried a nugget shaped like a heart, the prospector who claimed to pan gold from sunlight, the miner with crocodile dung sunscreen. Some are absurd, some tragic, but all are threads in the tapestry of this fevered time. A few determined souls remain, sifting mud with the stubborn belief that the next big strike could still happen. You realize that the gold rush didn't just create wealth, it created obsession, hope, and a restless spirit that refuses to die. San Francisco has shifted again. The chaotic, booming city now hums with business, law, and industry. Streets are cleaner, banks legitimate, and skyscrapers, if you can call the wooden structures that scrape the foggy sky. But the fever hasn't entirely left the air. Every so often, someone glances at the river or a mountain pass, and dreams still whisper of the gold that slipped through fingers decades ago. You reflect on the human cost: displaced native Californians, lives lost to greed and disease, shattered families, and dreams broken as fast as they were made. And yet, for all the chaos, something incredible emerged: communities, infrastructure, stories, and a West that would never be the same again. As you walk away from the last abandoned mine, dust rises around your boots, soft and golden in the evening light. You feel the pulse of history here, fragile yet persistent. Even as the rush fades, the land, the people, and the fevered memories remain, waiting quietly to be discovered anew by anyone daring enough to chase them. Now, you find yourself reflecting, tracing the echoes of the gold rush across hills, rivers, and abandoned camps. Time has softened the fevered chaos, but it hasn't erased it. Every dusty trail, every hollowed-out creek bed, every half-collapsed cabin carries the weight of ambition and loss. You wander slowly, mindful of the ghosts that linger, some literal, some in memory, some in the patterns of human desire that refuse to fade. The stories are endless. You see miners who struck it rich and vanished into obscurity, women who carved thriving lives from dust and sweat, immigrants who faced hostility yet thrived through resilience. You see entire communities built on opportunity and torn apart by greed, disease, or the whims of the elements. Historians still argue whether the gold rush ultimately benefited California more than it harmed it, but standing here, you realize the truth is somewhere in the middle. You pause beside a river once bright with promise. The water now runs slower, muddied in places, yet still catching sunlight on its surface. You remember the techniques: pans, cradles, sluice boxes, and eventually industrial dredges that stripped hills and turned valleys into moonscapes. Every tool tells a story, some of invention, some of desperation. You think of the quirky inventions too: sunshine mining, mercury-slicked gold, even the ridiculous crocodile dung sunscreen rumor. These details, absurd or fringe, remind you that humans don't just seek gold. They chase belief, illusion, and sometimes sheer joy. Across the landscape, San Francisco hums quietly in the distance, its skyline a testament to ambition transformed into permanence. Yet even here, you see remnants of the fever: old buildings patched over, gold dust still embedded in wood floors, plaques commemorating names you'll never know. The city is a living bridge between chaos and order, dream and reality. You stop, letting the wind brush your face. Somewhere, a bird calls. Somewhere else, a distant miner hums to himself. You think about the men and women who braved sickness, violence, loneliness, and disappointment. You think about those who struck it rich, and those who never did. You realize that gold wasn't the real treasure. It was the transformation, the courage to step into uncertainty, the stories forged in dust and sweat. The sun dips low, and the land stretches golden before you, softening in the evening haze. You feel your own pulse slow, the fever of the world giving way to quiet understanding. You know the gold rush will never truly leave, in stories, in history books, in the rivers and hills still glinting in sunlight. And you carry it with you now, a fever transformed into reflection. The evening settles gently around you, the hills and rivers softening under a veil of twilight. Dust rises faintly from the old paths, glittering briefly in the fading sun like the ghosts of gold long gone. You breathe slowly, feeling the rhythm of the land, the echo of footsteps, the whispers of those who chased dreams and left behind only traces. The fevered chaos, the laughter, the curses, all these sounds fade into a gentle hum, a lullaby for the restless spirit of the West. You walk along the riverbank, its waters calm and reflective, remembering the men who panned tirelessly, the women who built homes and businesses, the immigrants who brought their cultures and resilience. Each story blends into the next, creating a tapestry woven from hope, failure, courage, and ambition. The air carries the scent of wet earth and distant wood smoke, mingling with the faint memory of metals once prized above all. The hills grow shadowed, the sky deepening into soft indigo. Stars emerge, one by one, delicate and patient, reminding you of the vastness beyond human endeavor. You let the quiet settle in, embracing the gentle hush. Even the ghosts of ambition, those who lived fast, dug deep, or vanished into legend, seem at peace, resting in the folds of the land they helped shape. Your footsteps slow. You feel the weight of history easing into calm reflection. The gold is gone, the fever cooled, and yet the story remains, soft and steady, like a heartbeat you can feel beneath the ground. You close your eyes, imagining the rivers flowing, the camps empty but alive with memory, the wind brushing against the hills with a gentle sigh. And with that, you let yourself drift. Let the stories, the dust, the hum of history cradle you. Feel the calm, the quiet, the lingering warmth of a past alive in memory.